Welcome to Footy Fanatics here on a Tuesday night live post Liverpool's demolition at Anfield. It was 5-2 in the end. Real Madrid coming to town and flipping Liverpool like a pancake on pancake day. They were burnt, they were flipped, they were tossed, they were turned, and in the end, they left with 3 goals plus from the halftime 2-2 result that Liverpool went in with. They leave with 3 goals in their pocket. They take it back to the Bernabeu, and the likelihood is they're going to go through to the next round, Real Madrid. But you never know. You never know in football, and we know with Liverpool, you never know. Istanbul, you never know. We have got the salty Sultan, they call him, and tonight he's feeling extra salty because you know what? That second half performance must have had him ripping out his hair, must have had him throwing his remote at the TV, and it must have
Mm.
had him thinking, where the hell has my midfield gone? Where the hell has my defense gone? And you can even argue, where did the attack go in the second half? There were a few chances, but we're going to get into that match. Post-match fan cam live. Give us a like, subscribe if you ain't already subscribed. This is the channel that debates the big six every Sunday. We put the best quality fans in a room and we debate the best and worst of each big six team. That's Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and I'm missing one. Who am I missing? Who have I missed out? Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester
That's
United, Manchester City, and mate, I've gone blank, mate. I've got a blank on the 16. You
Liverpool.
got the three up north, and you got the three down south. Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Man City, and Liverpool. So we
Yeah.
represent those six teams. Got there in the end, and today we're talking all about Liverpool's loss in the Champions
Mm.
League under the lights at Anfield. It's supposed to be the fortress, the place where teams go and they rarely come back with a win. If you get a draw away to Anfield under the lights in the Champions League, you consider it a job well done. You take them back to your home stadium, the Bernabeu in this case, and Real
Mm.
Madrid would have wanted to finish the job in the second leg. But you know what? The job is probably already done. They are probably just going to put out a team in the second leg. Listen, they might take the piss and do what Bayern Munich did to Arsenal back in the day, or they might
Mm.
just put out the kids. That's how embarrassing it's got. But Sultan, thanks for coming on, mate.
No
Liverpool
worries, bro.
die-hard fan, mate. Appreciate you showing your face on a night like this. And win, lose, or draw, you're always there to represent Liverpool. And tell us how you're feeling after that game, mate. In one word, just to get you started, mate, without swearing, in one word, how are you feeling after that 95 minutes?
Out of the Champions League. That's how I'm feeling. Um, I mean, before the game, Klopp in his interview said he's ready and felt good, right? Good couple of wins, beating Everton and a tough game against Newcastle. First 20 minutes, the atmosphere was electric, right? Anfield was bouncing. Darwin Nunes with a great goal, Mo Salah with the assist, and then Courtois made a howler, right? Let Salah in with a goal. Thinking
Yep.
like, what's going on here? And then Benzema 1-2 with Vinicius Junior with a proper whip of a goal, past Allison like bang like an arrow, which is a great
Mm,
goal.
mm,
And then Allison like he did a Courtois, made a howler, became 2-2, and then from the 20th minute right to the 80th, we just fell apart, and Madrid just stepped up. They never panicked. They showed their class. Vivaldi, Camavinga. What could
mm.
you say about Modric? You're a Spurs supporter, right?
He's 38, man.
He's just
38 years
evergreen.
old, and
He's
he's
just
shoving players off the ball. He's running
you know
past
you know
players, mate.
you know
Mad.
it- madness. So
Madness, mate.
I mean, 5-2. To be honest with you, they were missing Chemani, Tony Cruz. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it could have been worse, if they were
Mm,
playing. But to be honest with you, it's gonna take. We're not going through. I mean, if the return leg was at Anfield, you could say based on previous years, we could maybe done something. But at the Bernabeu, I think it's damage limitations. So
done, mate. It's done. I
is
can't
is
see
it?
it, mate.
Yeah, it's done. I think we just need to concentrate. Personally, I think it is done. I think we need to concentrate on the league, and just build momentum to that, and try and get back
Mm,
into the Champions League,
mm,
and then rebuild in the summer. But yeah, to fair play to Madrid, they're even the mature players. They just They're not going down, and the players they're bringing in like Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Camavinga, Chemani,
Mm,
like these players, Valverde, right? These players they're replacing them. They're bringing them young. They're not going out for the Galacticos. They're bringing these young players in and
mm.
integrating them within the team, and they're doing a great job of
They
it.
still got
So
that experience though, innit? Look at this team,
they
man. They got
do.
experience running through it. Like, I mean, look, this is let's start with the tactics, right? Let's start
Yeah.
with tactics. So I'm gonna come at you from a neutral position because I'm not a Liverpool fan, I'm a Spurs
Mm,
fan. And I'm gonna come at you with a bit of a an opinion that I'm like Jurgen Klopp, right? This
mm,
morning I'm looking at this Real Madrid team. I'm hearing Cruz is out, but I'm hearing most of these guys are going to make it. Benzema's going to start. I've got to accommodate the opposition in some way, shape, or form. You can't be cocky with Real Madrid. You might be
mm,
able to do it with a West Ham on the weekend or
yeah.
whoever you're playing on the weekend who's not on form. But when you have Real Madrid come to town and you've got a massive hole in the middle of the park, you've got in Joe Gomez and Trent players that, yes, on the Premier League stage against an average team, they can do it. But when Real Madrid come to town, Sultan, I'm Jurgen Klopp here. I've got
Mm,
to find a way to stop them. I can't be cocky enough to think we will go toe to toe and we will beat them. The old Liverpool with Mane, with a young Hendo, with Wijnaldum in the middle, that Liverpool could go toe to toe with Real Madrid. This
yeah.
Liverpool from this season with this team can't go toe to
No.
toe with Liverpool. That is David and Goliath shit. And for
Yeah.
me, Klopp in that first half, you went toe to toe with Liverpool. You saw what happened. You got
Yeah.
you got a goal out of a goalkeeper's. You got both got quality goals. Nunes amazing, yeah. The
Mm,
pass from Salah, and the whole Salah to Nunes thing's coming on nicely now. We can see that. Salah's
yeah.
kind of really orchestrating them attacks now. He gave Gapco an assist the other day. And then you saw what's his name? Vinicius did to you with pure
Yeah.
sheer quality. Sheer
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the Champions League final as well.
He
With
did
it.
it last not last year, the season before at the while they were refurbing the stadium, they play in the training stadium when he scored a couple of goals against Liverpool. We lost 3-0, I think.
Mm.
He's quality,
He's
Vinicius
quality,
Junior.
but what did Klopp do? This is my question to you, because
Mm.
what is Klopp doing to manage tactically the opposition's threat, or is he not doing anything? Do you think he
Well,
could have done more?
yeah. So an example, right, is a third goal, Idao Militao, right? The whole Liverpool defense was in a straight line, and there was no movement, and the guy just literally just headed the ball in, and it was mad. You needed at least two players just to move it, just to create some movement, and they were all just standing in a line, and it was exactly that. It was
I
laughable, like
think they were still thought they were at half time queuing up for a pint, mate. They look
yeah,
like they're ready to queue up
look at.
for a
I
pint and a
mean,
hot dog.
look
Do
at
you know what
look
I
at
mean?
look at look at that space in the 6 yard box, right?
Mad.
I mean, Modric whipped it in. He put some whip into that ball,
Yeah.
and the guy and Militao
It was,
just about, and that was his
it
first
was off the
goal.
training ground, mate. It was
Yeah,
off the training. They're both looking at each other for about 3 minutes before he
yeah.
even
It, it,
takes
it
that,
was
that thing.
It was Militao's first goal in 4 years,
But
so
but
that's how bad.
is this zonal marking? What is this? Because it's not man marking, mate. Man marking is like I'm
There's
gonna
no
stay in
marking.
front of you. So that's zonal marking. Okay. So in
Yeah,
zonal marking, everyone has a
zone
respective
to
zone
mark.
to mark. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
how I understand zonal marking from a basic level from a
mm,
friend of mine who's a coach. You have a zone and that's your zone. Whatever comes in that zone is your problem. You don't take someone else's zone. And
yeah,
that's it. My guy has run across 3 or 4 zones, right? Free. Nobody's followed him. Nobody's tracked him. And literally, do you know what, mate? It was one of those goals that you score in five-a-side with your mates.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah.
run
It's
across
too
and you just hope that
easy.
someone finds you. It was too easy, man. And
It's too
like,
easy.
who do we blame? Do we obviously you blame the players, but I mean, what's happening in training, man? Like, I mean, I feel
Well,
like
I think VVD is the leader at the back, right? And he needs to marshal the lads. If they, he's the lead. They look up to him, right? And Gomez, when he's not playing well, like he didn't do today, he crumbles, right? The free kick they got was a bit. I'm not sure it was a free
yeah, it
kick.
was a 50-50.
Yeah, so it's a cheap free kick. So
Yeah.
that was questionable. And then, um, the other goal that Gomez gave, the own goal. I mean, that was ridiculous as well. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it started from Alisson's giving that stupid goal away, and then from then we kept making mistakes after mistakes, and yeah, it was terrible to be honest with you. But Madrid, fair play to them, 2-0 down at Anfield, tricky atmosphere, and they scored 5 goals. Right, not many teams will come and do that. Um,
I,
you know,
I think. Look, against Newcastle, they probably had one eye on this Sunday, the League Cup final, their first
yeah,
trophy in 30 odd plus years.
yeah,
I look at Newcastle, who haven't been playing very well recently. They've not
mm,
been playing well. They've had a few draws, right?
yeah.
Whatever that's down to, tired legs, opposition working them out. Before that, you beat a very weak Everton at
Mm,
home, which at Anfield you'd expect to beat them. And your home form's been all right. It's your away form that's been crap.
mm.
And then tonight was a different game of sport. It was a different sport compared to what you've just done. Going to Newcastle and winning and beating Everton at home is different to that Real Madrid lineup. These guys are the kings of Europe, man. These
Do you know?
guys love this
Yeah.
competition.
Do you know what? Playing that high line against this kind of opposition when Camavinga, Vivaldo, and Modric, they can play.
Madness,
They can play through
madness,
you.
mate.
That's
You needed Jose and Conte tonight, mate. You
yeah.
cannot with that team, yeah. Jurgen Klopp for me. Look,
Mm,
I love Jurgen Klopp's passion. I like his
yeah.
personality. Yes, he moans a bit. Tell me a manager that don't moan, right?
Yeah.
It's playing the media, right? And
Mm,
sometimes he overdoes it, blaming the weather and stuff like that. Put all that stuff to one side with Jurgen Klopp. As a man motivator, as a straight up, in your face, let's go toe to toe football. Love him, and he's good at
mm.
that. And Liverpool did that for so many years and won. But he doesn't have the squad to play Klopp football. He doesn't have
Nah,
the squad to play Klopp football. So if I don't have the squad to
you
go
got
toe to toe, I
you got
have to
that.
do something else. You adapt.
Yeah.
You adapt.
Yeah.
And the thing for me is he didn't adapt. Because when I'm watching that first half, I'm going, man, it's just a matter of who takes their chances in this game. It's like tennis. It was like
Mm,
tennis. You have a go, you have a go. And then do you know what happens in the end, Solly? Cream always rises to the top, mate.
yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
stays at the top. And in this match, Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, I'm calling you out. You didn't set the team up to contain Real Madrid. You could have played them on the counter, but you didn't.
Mm,
You went toe to toe. Yes, the big Champions League night at Liverpool, Anfield. Yes, I get the crowds on your, they're on the back of the necks of the Real Madrid players. But at the end of the day, you can't let Modric, you can't let Benzema, and you can't let Vinicius Jr., who are all number one in their positions in the world,
yeah.
you could argue.
Yeah.
Benzema is probably the best striker in the world.
Yeah.
Vinicius, you could put with Mbappe up there, and
Hmm.
you'd argue Modric is world class in that cam role. You
He's
can't
kind of
put them.
by himself. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
them three took the piss out of Liverpool tonight, pretty
Yeah.
much. And for me, Klopp had no plan. All the players don't listen to his plan, but if they don't listen to the plan, then he's lost the dressing room. And
But yeah.
secondly, just one last thing, mate. That high line, if you're gonna go toe to toe, choose the right moments. I'm
Mm,
seeing Trent up there like a winger. I'm
yeah.
seeing Trent up there with Salah holding hands. I'm seeing Robertson. I get the whole thing about getting the width up, getting the ball in. But mate, every time they got the ball on the turnover, it was like, oh shit. And then
Mm.
and then you got pure Rolls Royce and Vinicius and Benzema. And what can you do, man? That's what happens.
It's the individual errors though. That's Klopp
Yeah,
can't
that's
make
not
those
Klopp.
mistakes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so like the Allison thing, yeah, it happens, but he's got a bit of a howler in him, and then Joe Gomez didn't play well. I think with Klopp, he knows the limitations with this squad. So he has to he's playing an 18-year-old because Thiago's injured, for example, and
yeah.
there's no other. He doesn't trust Keita for whatever reason. Maybe could have
Mm,
played him.
mm,
So his options are quite limited.
yeah.
Up front, I think it's slowly coming together with Nunes, and Gapco played quite well as well. Some of the link-up play was quite nice, and
Yeah, it's
Salah
clever. Clever player.
Salah was quite good for the first 30 minutes, and then never got a sniff.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, so now fair play to Real Madrid. They even though they're 8 points behind in La Liga, they came and showed like in the
Mate, this is
Champions.
their cup.
Mate,
This is their
in
cup.
Champions League, Real Madrid are
They're different.
royalty. They
It's
own
like, do you
they
know
own
what?
this.
It's like this competition, it's like they're bored of La Liga. It's like
Yeah.
this is our La Liga. This is our competition.
Which which
We
which is
play
the
we live for this.
which is a strange thing, right? They're pushing for this Super League, but the Champions League is their cup. Do you know what I mean? They've won it 15 times, right?
Yeah,
And they're pushing for the Super League, which is a bit strange. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, putting that aside, right? That last season, obviously they beat us in the final, and Courtois had a blinder. To be honest, we
Mm.
played quite well in that final, and if he made a ricket like he did tonight, then we probably would have won it. But it is what it is.
The
But
thing
if
is
they,
that midfield, yeah, everyone knows how to play Liverpool. Yeah, you
mm,
basically the Hendos and what's his name,
Fabinho,
Fabinho, right?
yeah,
Hendos that midfield has aged. It's had
mm,
its best. It's had its best years. It's
yeah,
aged. It
yeah,
needs to
yeah,
be replaced. You know that. I know that, and every man and his dog knows that. You don't
mm,
have to be a football mastermind to know that Liverpool's midfield is done. You don't have to be a football mastermind to know that Joe Gomez and Matip. I think Matip's better than Gomez. If you ask me, Matip's better than Gomez. But you don't have
mm,
to be a mastermind to know that the weakest link in that defense is Gomez. You don't have to be a mastermind to know that Trent can't run backwards and defend, right? So there's three areas I've just shown you where, as an opposition manager and just
yeah,
the average football fan, I can tell you, like, if I'm playing Liverpool Football Club, I know I'm
mm,
tacking down the left with Vinicius, right?
yeah.
In the middle of the park, they don't have the technical ability and the legs to last 95 minutes, maybe 45,
No,
right?
no,
And
no,
I
no.
know to target Joe Gomez. And they did all three things tonight, Liverpool. They basically highlighted to FSG the problem with that first 11, and you needed a quality team to do that, to really take the piss, not like win 2-0, like really
Yeah,
put it out there. Like, if I'm Klopp tomorrow morning, I'm going, yo, FSG, you think we're Champions League? You think we're Liverpool from
mm,
2019 when we won it? You think we're still that Liverpool, mate? That is what
mm,
we are. And I put the phone down because you know what? What Real Madrid have done is basically completely exposed Liverpool's weaknesses that have been there all season, but you just needed a Rolls Royce to come along and take the
yeah.
piss with it, mate. And that's the
Well, what?
problem.
Well, yes. Yesterday, Henry confirmed that Liverpool are not for sale, and I think there's a bit of a thing going on with United as well,
Oh
right?
man, I'm
Because
loving this shit, man. I'm loving this shit, man. It's mad.
because United are now they're being backed by this US hedge fund, right? And
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Glazers maybe did it to increase the thingy,
The
and
share
actually
price.
maybe because apparently, so just on a slightly different
Yeah,
topic,
yeah.
they got the Glazer brothers here. Two of them don't want to sell, so they want to
Mate, you
actually
know what? Yeah, you see these Americans. Yeah, they're gonna
yeah.
want the big bucks if they sell. If
Mm.
they sell, right? And if they
They
sell
want
to
6 billion
someone
for
from,
United.
bro,
Yeah,
if they're selling to Saudi or the
yeah,
UAE or
yeah,
Qatar,
yeah,
bro, they're gonna want 25% above market price. Because if you come to buy my car and I
yeah,
see a Rolex on your hand,
yeah.
bro, I'm gonna push that price, mate. If you
No,
got a
no,
20 grand
exactly.
watch on your wrist, I'm gonna go, listen, you see what? I want 2 grand more.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what people do in life, right? We try and maximize the potential. Bro, they're looking at the Middle East going, you lot are desperate for these clubs. You know why they're
I
desperate? For
and United.
political power. For
Yeah,
political power. That's what it
yeah,
is. Yeah. It's an
yeah,
influential thing within politics. There's more to it than just
yeah.
football. But yeah,
But
back to
then,
your point.
but back to Liverpool, right? So he goes, the club's not for sale, but we are looking for investors, right? And there will be money to spend in someone. There needs to be money. The whole midfield needs to be upgraded for a start, right?
Bro.
Probably need a centre back as a minimum. So that's four players we need
You
to
need a
bring in,
centre
right?
back. You need
Three midfield
three
players.
midfielders, and you
Yeah,
got too many attackers. You've got the most. You are top heavy, mate. You're like a woman with
yeah,
45 Ds and skinny legs. You're like the bloke at the
yeah,
gym that's banging out 100 kilos on his arms, but
yeah. He's
his
got
legs
chicken
are
legs.
shaking. He's got
Yeah, yeah,
thin
yeah.
legs. That's it. And it's like Liverpool are top heavy, mate. Like, I mean, like
But
up front.
you know
Yeah,
the midfield, right? The heavy link with Mason Mount. I'm not too sure about him. I think he's a good player and he's English, so there's an English tax, and they need the homegrown because Oxlade and Milner's leaving, so you need to replace the homegrown. So Bellingham is going to be one most probably, and they're saying that they're targeting
is
Mason Mount.
Bellingham gonna
Mm.
come to Liverpool with that?
I
With you in Europe? I think he would. I think he would
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
young. He's
Yeah.
young and he only weighs up. So he
It's
knows
the
he's gonna
it's
get
the
playing
pro
time.
it's the
It's
project
it's the
it's
whole
the
project. It's
yeah,
the
and
whole project.
we
Yeah.
still might get sneaking Champions League. by the end of the season.
You might. You got
Who
2 games on
not through
Spurs.
the not through winning it, but
Yeah, yeah. But
maybe through the
listen,
league.
the thing is, yeah, I put this on Klopp. I put this on
Mm,
Klopp, silly. Yeah, I'm not a Man United fan. I'm not a hater. I'm not,
yeah,
a fan. I'm not an Everton fan. I'm a Spurs fan. Yeah, and I
yeah,
know about shitty football stinking out the place, bruv. I know
mm,
about Man City coming to town and
mm,
putting 8 behind the ball. I know
yeah.
about going away in Europe and putting about 8 behind the ball, and I know about winning in Marseille or winning in certain places in Europe by doing that. For me tonight to go toe to toe with Real Madrid with that midfield, with Trent running around like I don't know, like there's like he's got 5 defenders behind him.
Yeah.
Like I can't understand why Klopp can't sit there and go, forget the beautiful game, forget the attacking shit. It's not 2019, it's not 2021, it's not Premier League time, it's not Champions League time. It is get a flipping result time. You needed
And
a draw at the worst.
and and the other thing is European away goals don't count anymore.
They don't count since 21. They stopped
Yeah,
it
yeah, exactly. So
because this
so
time
so
was done, mate.
so the first 20 minutes you think like maybe it's going to plan, and then after that they just stepped it up and
But you know what, yeah?
it
If
fell apart.
European away goals counted, then Liverpool might have had a chance because Real Madrid might have got to 3-2 or 4-2 and said, right, let's sit back, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
because then they got the extra goal in the bag with the advantage. But look, at Real
yeah.
Madrid didn't. Real Madrid just kept coming in waves and waves.
Mm,
And Real Madrid, right, you could tell they're all looking at each other going, this ain't the Liverpool from the final. This ain't the
uh,
Liverpool from 2019. This is some wounded, old, battered, depleted Liverpool. And they basically just had a third gear performance, really, you know.
well, I think Real Madrid didn't have to get out of second gear, to be honest with you.
I'm telling you, mate. I'm telling you,
Do, do,
mate.
do you know what I
But
mean?
let's
So,
look at this first half, mate, because I was looking at this
mm,
first half before we went live, and you actually took it on stats. So look, you expected XG, right, which is expected goals, right? It's a formula
mm,
based on attacking threat.
yeah,
1.94, Madrid 0.58. You had 7 shots, 4 on target. They had 5 shots, 3 on target. So he edged it, what's his name? Courtois made more saves than Allison.
mm.
And then you had, as you go down, you had 4 big chances. Liverpool had 4 big chances. Madrid had 1. You missed 2 big chances. Which ones were they, man? Which ones did you miss? Do you remember that?
I might
You
have missed
missed
those
2
ones.
big
Yeah,
chances. So it could have been a header, it could have been a shot, could have
mm,
been something where the players had a chance on goal and he's missed it. You had 6 shots inside the box, they had 5, and you had 1 outside the box, they had 0. 271 passes, you outpassed them. You're more clinical in your passing, right?
mm.
And you had more crosses and more dribbles than Madrid. So looking at those stats, and this is why stats don't tell you the whole story, because we saw the game and it was more 50-50. But in terms of what I'm trying to say is Liverpool in the first half were very much in that game. And going into half time, Liverpool must have thought coming out that we can win this game. At 2-2, we can come out, we can win this game. And then,
Give away
mate,
those goals. Yeah,
and then it just went pancake, man. I mean, this is
yeah.
the second half, yeah. So possession 50-50. But look at the key stat there on the
Three,
right.
three shots on target, 3 goals.
3 shots on target, 3 goals. Liverpool 1 shot on target. Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
Liverpool had more corners.
yeah.
Oops, where's it gone? Yeah, Liverpool had more corners.
Oh, they were bad. They couldn't even beat the first man.
You couldn't beat the
Robertson,
first man.
Trent. Yeah, couldn't beat the first man. So it's terrible.
So,
I
like,
think
what I
we
mean?
had
Someone needs to
one.
look at that.
We had one header, Firmino, who either side would have gone in, but straight at Courtois. Yeah, no, the second half performance was a big
Second half,
letdown. Yeah,
you guys passed. See, they passed 288 passes, Liverpool 284. So you were in the game in terms of possession.
mm,
86% versus 87. You both, the passing was pretty much the same. But look at this stat on the right. Long balls, 16 success out of 27. Liverpool 13, right? Crosses, 2 successful out of 4.
mm.
Liverpool had 4 successful out of 13. So it was like Liverpool weren't out the game in terms of control. It was just moments, wasn't it? It was just moments of
It's
Real
just
Madrid
moments
being
of
clinical.
yeah, it's just moment. Those in midfield, those moments of quality. Camavinga, Modric, playing those passes,
Yeah.
playing those, through the lines. They
Quality,
were
quality,
yeah,
quality.
they're quality, man, and their
There wa-
their
yeah.
Champions League experience tells. Do you know what I mean? It, they're good. They're very good. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
There's
They're a class
levels.
above.
There's
There's
levels,
levels,
and
yeah.
today shows that Liverpool are no longer on the level of Real Madrid, which they were a few years ago. Real Madrid have gone and
Mm.
invested in Rodrigo up top. Um,
Vinicius Junior,
they've
Camavinga,
Camavinga
um,
came in for
Tim,
Cruz. You
they
know,
Alaba, he got injured. They got Rudiger. And then Chimani didn't even play. He was injured, wasn't he? So
yeah.
they
Let's have a
they
look at that.
invested in young players, whereas we've got one midfielder, a 30-year-old or 29 at the time, in 4.5 years.
Well, look, they
And
got down here. They got Cruz on the bench. They got um, Hazard on the
Hazard
bench, and they got
still around.
Asensio still
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Hazard, he didn't even play.
yeah.
He's been injured. You guys on the bench had a lot of attacking. Well, you had obviously Jota come on. You had
Mm.
Firmino come on for Gapco. Diaz, how far's Diaz away from?
He's probably another month away. He's out running now. It'd be interesting though when he is available, if he is available this season. What does that mean in terms of, because he normally plays on the left hand side. Now he's
Yeah,
playing Nunes because of his pace, and Salah on the other side, and Gapco in the middle, kind of doing a
yeah,
Firmino role, right? It'll
yeah.
be interesting when Luis Diaz is available. What does that mean? Because I can't. I think he would want him involved because he's a proper street fighter footballer, right? Bet
Mm.
it needs to improve on his end product, like in the goals and assists, but he's a really
Do you
good
know
player.
what? One thing that I find with Liverpool is the pressing,
Mm,
right? And the Klopp teams have always pressed high up the pitch, won it ball
yeah,
high up the pitch, and
yeah.
they've always had a high back line, and they've basically just pressure cookered the opposition into
Pinned them
making
down.
mistakes, pin them
Yeah,
down, and then
yeah.
you've relied on the quality of the Salahs
Mm,
and
mm.
whatnot. You've got the front line to press with Nunes, with Salah, with Gapco now, and with Diaz
Diaz and Jota's a good
Diaz and
presser as well.
Jota's a very good presser. He's your best presser.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
per
yeah.
the stats. So you've
Mm,
got a front line there that can press the hell out of an opposition. You've got a front line there that could finish.
mm,
And I say this, you know, I say this to you. I think you've got the best front four or five in the Premier League, right? With those
mm,
players and quality. Nunes is a matter of time before he starts putting away his chances. Gapco's a matter of time as well. There's quality. You've bought quality there. With Diaz and Jota, we know what they can do because we've been seeing it for a few seasons now. But where I worry for Liverpool is behind that. Where's the pressing? Has Hendo got the legs?
nah,
Has
it's Fabinho's goosed. He's gone.
Fabinho got the legs?
Nah, these,
Bacetic is young
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Fabinho, Henderson, right? They're no longer starters. They're more squad players. So when Milner goes, Henderson can take that kind of role. You still need his influence in the club because he's a captain and he's a leader, right? So for
Mm,
that reason, I would have him around. Fabinho, you know what? If Atletico Madrid comes in with a 30-40 million pound bid,
mm.
I'd ship him over, honestly, because I think his legs have gone.
Do you know what's
Then
sad, Sully, is you had a team up here, right? The cream of English football taking
mm,
on Man City, giving them a real run for their money and beating them to a title. You had the Champions League win. You had
mm,
the platform to go, right, domination time. Like this is what Liverpool fans were talking about 3 years ago. Is we're going to dominate Europe. When you beat us in the Champions League, Tottenham, and I was there in Madrid. I was there for 5 nights, so I spoke to loads of Liverpool fans because I was out there for 3 nights after the game,
yeah.
and it was like we're gonna dominate English football. We're gonna do what Fergie did. He's our Fergie. Jurgen Klopp is our Fergie. We're gonna dominate football.
I never
But the
invested in the
missing
team.
jigsaw piece was FSG. And
Yeah.
you know what? If I'm a Liverpool fan,
Mm,
I'm going mad. I want to go to Anfield. Even I'd go now, 12 o'clock at night. I'll be throwing eggs at them windows. So when they come
yeah.
in the morning, they know how much I hate them owners because the platform was there, Sully, man. It was like
It's like
it was easier to succeed than
when
fail.
you're at the top, you should always add one or two players. And Fergie was quite good at this at United, where there was a time when Ruud van Nistelrooy was banging in the goals, and he said something or didn't do something, and he chucked him out of the team and brought someone else, right? When they were
Yeah, the
at the
backing.
top. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they backed him, right? And every season when they won the league, right? When they won like 13 on the bounce, or those years anyway, that they would add one or two players. But after we won the league, we added a goalkeeper and no one basically. They never
Mate,
spent.
it's embarrassing. Your net spend is eighth. You're below
Yeah,
Villa.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're below West Ham.
So who
Look,
knows? So we all know, right? We haven't we basically spent nothing, and
you.
to spend not much and then to try and compete is in itself an
Mate,
achievement,
mate,
right?
that's like me telling you to go to a casino with a tenner and come back with £100. I'm giving you no
Yeah,
money. I'm giving you very little money. You're
exactly.
just gonna throw it on one number and hope, and that's it.
So let's see this summer if they go out, they need to spend, but for argument's sake, right? I don't know if they are going to actually do it. Is 250 to 300 million, like literally to refresh that whole midfield and buy a centre back. Let's see, because the money we've been saving and making as the third richest club now in terms of revenue, that money,
Huge.
yeah, we should be able to invest. And do you
So
know what, right?
FFP allows you to invest up to 70%,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And then
so where's that money going?
we could, right, just go and get a bank loan and still would be within FFP, you know.
But
So
where's that money going? Like there
well,
must
that's
like with Tottenham as a
mm,
Spurs fan, we rode out the Wembley bit, we rode out the transition into the new White Hart Lane, and everyone sat back and said, we're still angry that Levy didn't spend money when we were with Leicester in
yeah.
2016 in that title race. Why
Mm,
didn't you add a bit of quality? You could have made the difference with injuries. Liverpool don't have a £1 billion stadium. You had a
no,
stand.
yeah.
So I don't know where this money's gone, because is it just sitting somewhere, or have the owners taken it out, or is it genuinely been spent? Because I don't know where it is, man. I'm thinking, like, as an outside fan, I'm looking and going, eighth net spend, right? No £1 billion stadium.
Mm,
You haven't invested in the Liverpool city centre where you've spent, I don't know, 400 million to get Liverpool up a
yeah.
gear as a town, as a city, sorry. So where is Liverpool's money sitting? Somewhere in a vault in America?
Do you know what? That's what everyone's been asking. They say every summer we're going to spend big, and we've been waiting for this summer for a very long time. I think now they realize they have to spend. They literally have to spend, because if they don't, I think there's going to be riots. Honestly,
Mm,
it'll be what Man United did when they literally ransacked the stadium against, you know, that
mm,
Liverpool match a couple of
mm,
seasons ago.
mm,
If they don't, I mean, look, to be fair to FSG, right? They've been good owners in the sense that they rebuilt the main stand, they're building the other stand, they built the
mm,
training pitch. We won the league the first time in God knows how many 30 years, right?
mm,
And I mean, they have spent money to a certain extent, like 180 million on attackers in the last two seasons, I think. So they have,
mm.
but not enough of it. And I think, and some
And
of it's down to
correctly.
yeah, some of it's down to Klopp and maybe with the sporting director, right? Like, so when Wijnaldum went, they never
Mm.
brought in a
Never
replacement.
replaced him. Yeah, never replaced him.
Never replaced him. Now, whether the sports people thought, you know, Wijnaldum had his day,
But were you
it,
relying on Cater, maybe? Because you spent
yeah,
50 odd million on him.
but he's never been fit though. No. He's been the biggest flop since. He's been the
He's been
biggest
a
flop
big flop
basically.
since
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
since Carroll,
because
Andy Carroll, isn't it?
yeah. Do you know what? When we got him, I thought, blimey, like this guy is meant to be some next level shit basically. But then
Yeah.
like, and in Germany, he never got injured, or very few. But then
Mm.
since he came over, he's been constantly injured.
Yeah, yeah. What can you do, mate? But that's why the likes of Man City and the clubs with the money buy backups in every position, and they always try and have two, if not
Yeah.
world class, two pretty decent players in each position. Liverpool didn't even replace one, let
But
alone
then,
have a
but
backup.
then we buy players like, I don't know if they were injured, like have injury histories before, but Jota, Thiago always had a bit of injury history, right?
Mm.
Keita, sick note. Curtis Jones, I don't rate him, but the guy's always
It's
injured,
an academy
right?
guy, man. You can't put weight on him like that.
Yeah, yeah. Kanate, he's a good defender, but his availability is not great. If I'm being honest,
Mm.
they say in football availability is the best ability, right? If you're not
Mm.
available, then what use are you? Oxlade
True.
Chamberlain, like he's crap now, right? But when he came, he was quite good. Again, he had
Mm.
injury issues. Like, so we got all these players that have injuries on big money, right? You know, Liverpool do incentivize their players really well. So their
Mhm.
bonuses are quite high in terms of achievements. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why the revenue, the wages are high overall
Mhm.
in the Premier League. But once you get rid of these players and then bring in more robust younger players, that should make a difference. And they need to start doing that. They know that Klopp already said they're going to spend in the summer. The owner said yesterday their money's going to be has to be available right now. Whether that money is from what we talked about before, from the revenue, where's that money been going? or is it from the new investors that will come in? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, you got quite a bit of money from your Champions League run last year, which you got to the final. And roughly, if you do the numbers, it's about 80 to 100 million you can earn on the way to the final. So that's a lot of money, plus your broadcasting Premier
Yeah,
League money, your shirt sales, your match day income. You got, I think, 50 odd, was it
yeah,
52K at
mm,
Anfield? So you got a good income match day. You got a good income broadcast last year. With the new stand, you got the good income there, and then you've got also good commercial income because you guys have really good sponsors. Like people spend
yeah,
good money to sponsor Liverpool, so the money's definitely there. Just looking at this goal, Sully. So I've screenshotted the bit where Benzema is basically the goal scorer
yeah,
eventually in this move. Now I'm looking at Benzema, right, and Benzema here is looking. He's just passed the ball over. And he's looking. Can you see there, number three?
yeah.
Or no, sorry, number three, number nine on his back, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
He's
he's
looking. He's looking.
where Jordan Henderson is, right?
Yeah,
Basically, so if you take that, when you look at that play back, right? Some players just like, if for arguments, like Michael Owen, he'll run into the box, into that six
yeah.
yard box, right? Whereas Benzema is smart enough to hold back, right? And then I think that's Rodrigo
Because
or
he's not
Vinicius.
quick, is he? So he relies on space rather
Yeah, but
than
he's quick in the
speed.
mind though. He's quick in the mind like
Quick in the
Modric.
mind, exactly.
He,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
might not be physically fast, but he's still got
yeah,
better pace. But
yeah.
in the mind, he's quicker than other people. He can see that pass, or he knows how to control his movement. And because
Mm,
he's controlled his movement and he's spotted the opportunity, right?
mm,
Bang. And his finishing is incredible, right? Some of the goals he scored against United in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago
mm.
were really good as well. So yeah, it's top. I mean, when he does retire, they're gonna have a hard act to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, look, after the Militao embarrassment, which we just went through now, which was basically letting a player just run across six, seven players and have a free
Mm.
header. Yeah. You then had the embarrassment here of Gomez holding hands with, I think that's Fabinho, right?
Yeah,
Van Dijk on the left there, and behind him Trent, which you
Trent.
can't really blame too much because he's got a man behind him, right? So let's take Trent out of it. You've then got on the right Hendo there as well. I don't know where he's looking at. I think he's looking at the player on the right there with his hand up. So you've got one, two, three, four players on two players, and on the left there you've got Robertson keeping an eye on the wide man for Madrid. So really, how the hell has Benzema managed to, from that position, 1 on 4 or 1 on even
School.
3, even this 1 on 3, like if you take Van Dijk, Fabinho, and Gomez, how he's managed to find that space by sucking. He did a 1-2, he sucked his man out, right? He brought him out, and basically the 1-2's come back, and then he's taken a shot. But it's just like, even if what I'm trying to say is, even if the players are crap, like this is basic level mistakes. This is like mistakes where even a player playing for like Bristol City, right,
Mm.
should be able to stop this. Like I'm like this is basic defending mistakes here. This is not, forget Champions League quality. Like he's done a 1-2
Yeah,
in the box and no one's pressed him or attacked him. There's no man marking. I mean, literally, Benzema's just basically used he's like you said, the extra yard in his head to go and
yeah,
right. And they do this probably all the time in training, right? 1-2, Benzema,
yeah,
bang. Because all it takes with a Benzema is a one shot. He's so clinical that his movement's so good. He's so good on the one shot. He doesn't need many touches. A bit like Haaland, with the just bang.
yeah,
But this is where it embarrasses me watching this. Like, what are these guys doing, man? What are these clowns doing at the back? I mean, where's the
mm,
leadership? Where is the strategy? Like Mark, he's the
yeah,
most killer man
mm,
in the world when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, and they're just letting him walk around. It's madness.
yeah. No, you're right. I mean,
Unexplainable.
they after the first 20 minutes, it seemed like they clearly stepped it up, and the likes of Modric and Benzema, they've just got an extra level quality. They are proper like top of the tree, and fair play to them. He scored 2 goals. You know what? When he came off, right, when he got subbed, he didn't break any sweat in that game. To be honest with you.
Mate, apparently he was like 50-50 to even starting this game, Benzema,
Oh
and
really?
Cruz
Oh,
came on
okay.
and had a little walk around as well. But for
Yeah.
me, right, like
Mm,
what instructions is Klopp giving these players? Because I mean, I I come back to this. Going forward, Klopp football is amazing. Going
mm,
forward, the whole way, Liverpool 3-4 passes, bang. Everyone knows Klopp, as he would call it, as rock and roll football, right? We're in your face, heavy metal, bang, let's go. Going the other way, I think Klopp's questionable, bro. I get the whole thing. He hasn't got the tools. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And 50% of the blame, you can't blame Klopp, because if he hasn't got quality defenders, what's he supposed to do? You can only put bodies in there, really. But in terms of tactical nous and strategy, that comes from the manager, not from the players. So in terms of instructions and how compact you should be, how defensive shape should be, I'm not seeing anything. I'm just seeing Klopp
He,
saying, "Go
he,
out there and try, and we'll see
he
what
keep
happens."
he does they do keep pursuing with his high line, and it's fine to play the high line if you've got the players and the legs to do it, which we
And
did.
not against Madrid.
But and not against Madrid, right? But we just don't, and they need to have a plan, to your
But
point
isn't he
at
just
the start.
naive then? Like, this is like the game of the season, right? This
Mm,
is the bit where you go, right, if we don't make top four in the league, we win this competition.
yeah,
Ugly football doesn't matter. It's all about results. For me, and I questioned Arteta on this with Hash as well
yeah,
previously, and with Sage, is does Arteta have a plan B? When it gets ugly, what do these managers do? You know, you don't have the squads that Man City have to bring on a Jack Grealish off the bench, a
no,
Foden off the bench, you know,
yeah,
another bit of quality like Alvarez. You have what you have. That's what you have.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
your
yeah,
team, man. I mean, all you had off the bench was an attacker to bring on. That's all
yeah,
you had in
yeah,
Yota. So I'm looking at the bench going, nothing behind me. I'm looking at these 11 playing guys. You're gonna have to get me a result. And then at some point, I've got to sit there and go, they're amazing. We're shit. Like, you should know your weaknesses as a manager. I'm sure they all know their weaknesses. You'd be really naive not to know that
mm,
Liverpool's midfield is weak and struggling, and the players are now past it. So
yeah,
why hasn't Klopp adapted to that? Makes me think, mate, that is just like I have the opposite problem at Spurs. I've got Conte being too compact, and we've got
yeah.
Kane and Son, and you're thinking play to your strengths, but he almost plays for the clean sheet, and then right then we'll try and score. So it's
I
almost
think,
like Conte would not have played this.
yeah,
If
Klopp.
Conte's managing Liverpool, mate, he's stinking that place out tonight. I'm telling you, man, I don't give
Do,
a
you-
shit.
do, you- do you know what? Klopp and his team management team believe they only have Plan A, right? This season they've continued to pursue with this,
Plan
and
A.
Plan A didn't work. So when the World Cup happened and they had this Dubai training camp, everyone thought, we'll go there, we'll reset, and we'll try something different. They
Yeah.
came back from a training camp and is basically the same old, right?
Mm,
The same was okay if you've got the players to do it. If you don't,
mm,
you have to adapt your system. Drop a few yards back, right? Because if
exactly.
because if you don't have the pace anymore, like
Be
VVD's getting
hard to
old,
beat.
yeah, be hard to
Be
beat,
hard to
right?
beat.
And I think part of it, like Pep Linders, right, he's trying to get the team to play a bit like more like Man City. Like those small players, like tick attack. We just don't do that,
Don't
right?
have the players
We don't we
for it.
don't have the players, right? We are more like, well,
Games are
we
often won and lost in midfield.
yeah, 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 like back in the days, you had Everton, the dogs of war, right? So
Yeah.
we had like Wijnaldum, Hendo for being on their pomp, right? This is a few years ago where
Mm.
they'll go after you, they'll snarl, put the
Hunt
tackles
you
in,
down.
hunt you down,
The
right,
press.
in
Yeah.
your face, right. Then they'll give it to Trent, Robertson, and then the red arrows, right? Mane,
Yeah.
Salah, and Firmino, right?
Yeah.
That's why the system was like everyone knew what their role was. This season, obviously, you're trying to integrate new players, Nunes, Cody Gakpo to a certain extent, and then obviously with the injuries, and then the midfield is just obviously past its
Yeah.
sell-by date. Then you got an
Mm.
18-year-old in there. It's difficult, and he struggled a little bit naturally, and
Yeah.
and then the defense has got no protection, so they're more exposed. And that that picture you just showed us is like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's going on there? Like, there's confusion, isn't there? So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's not great, but I think in the summertime they need to be
Major
getting big
surgery,
time,
bro.
major.
Major surgery. Like, you can't keep going like this and be. It's top four a trophy now for FSG. Is that what it is? Is it just top four? They're not ambitious to read. If they were ambitious, they would have gone out and smashed it in the summer. They would have smashed it in January. Normally, ambition comes from the top.
Mm.
No manager in the Premier League is going to tell you, don't give me extra money or players. There's not a single manager that's going to go, nah, I don't need that 50 mil. There's always a
But
player to
but
replace.
do you know what Klopp, like, he's got, I think he has now.
Mm,
He needs to speak up and say, look, if you want me to take LFC back and challenging, right? Not even winning, but challenging, yeah, you've got to give me the money. and I've got to buy these players right to be able to rejuvenate the team, Klopp 2.0, and
Yeah.
it's not going to come through by
Fergie was backed. Fergie used to always change the every 5 years you'd
yeah,
see major names of yesteryear out the door. Let's
mm,
bring in and refresh, and they'd go and
yeah,
buy the best defender or midfielder. And I feel sad for Liverpool because the institution that Liverpool is a huge, huge, huge global club. It's been built on success. You look at the Walk of Champions when they line up before the game, and then you look at the players and you're going, what's going on? Like the
mm,
walk, look at the trophy count. Look at the manager. He's world class when it goes to moving, attacking wise. Klopp is world class. Defensively, I question Klopp. If I'm being honest, I
mm,
question his ability to adapt to a game based on the opponent's strengths, which is what tonight. Now in tonight's game, we had a 38-year-old in Luka Modric, a
mm,
38-year-old. In
yeah,
your team, you had Hendo,
mm,
but Hendo versus Modric is like me comparing M&S to Lidl. And
yeah,
no disrespect to Lidl, but you know where I'm coming from, right?
or Waitrose, yeah,
Waitrose and I don't know, Costco around the corner, yeah.
yeah,
So different bread, different gravy.
oh, totally,
So Modric at 30, so the argument, well, Modric is old, but
yeah,
Modric is something else. So you can't compare him to Hendo. Then I look through that team, and you got Camavinga, and you got Valverde, mate,
quality.
mate,
Valverde's quality,
mate. Fabinho and Basetic, however you say his name, couldn't
yeah,
even wear like honestly, couldn't even sit next to those guys because of
mm,
the quality. So you've lost it. You've lost it in midfield. Look at the quality Madrid have in midfield. Yeah, they've got Luka Modric and those two. And then you're relying on magic from Salah, Gapco, and Nunes. And you got a bit of that in the first half. You got a bit of that in the first half. Salah did,
yeah,
Salah needs to just keep running at keepers because every time he does, they make a mistake, whether it's Nick Pope
mm,
or Thibaut Courtois today. So Salah's buying you goals from mistakes, and that can cover the damage because you're going into half time. And if you ain't watched the game 2-2, oh wow, Liverpool, they must have opened up Madrid 2 times. Now you got a gift, mate. Second
yeah.
half, Madrid also give you a gift in the first half, so it was 2-2. Both sides got a gift, but Allison gave away a gift as well. But then second half, it was a proper game of football. There's no gifts now. It's like you've had your gift. We gave you a goal, and
Ah,
Madrid are saying we get now. It was down to real quality, and it just completely Real Madrid shown the difference, man. It's a shame.
yeah, it's the second half they just completely dominated. To be honest with you, I think the game was done by 70 minutes.
4-2,
Um,
man. 4-2. The game
four
was done.
four two five
Yeah,
five
even at
two.
3-2,
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in my opinion, the ties were well over. You never know in Champions League, but I can't see us scoring 4 goals at the
Nah,
Bernabeu.
nah.
It's very
What does
unlikely.
what does he do when he go there now? Because today he did the whole attacking thing and didn't manage or contain Madrid's attacking threat, which is probably what he should do on the next one now because you got nothing to lose. Because let's be honest, you're out of it.
It
Does he
it
now
depe-
go there and
it
play like
depends. It
yeah
depends because I think then the second tie is quite a few weeks away now.
yeah
So if we, for instance, do keep winning in the league, then he's gonna have to decide, look, is it realistic to get 4 goals?
mm,
Probably not. At the Bernabeu, ain't gonna happen. Does he then rest players, to save them for the
mm,
league? It's a big question to ask. To ask. It depends on how we do against Palace and the Wolves. I think we've got Wolves coming up. If we win those games, then is it Wolves? We've got Wolves, Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Man United. Then
mm,
Real Madrid's on the 15th. So 4 games actually before we go back to Real Madrid. By then, those 4 games, if we win 3 of them, then I think we'll be up there challenging for fourth place, probably.
yeah.
Um, and then he's got to decide, like, you know what, the Real Madrid game, is it possible? Probably not. Do I rest players? It remains to be seen because the league games we need to get back into the Champions League, right?
Mm.
And the league games become more important.
Well, you got 3 weeks, right? I
Mm,
think today, what we got there, 21st of Feb. So add 7 days a week and then add another 15 days. So yeah, 3 weeks pretty much, bang on. You got
yeah.
3 weeks before you play this away leg. So it'll probably be a Wednesday or a Tuesday,
Oh,
whatever
sorry.
it is.
Actually, we need to score 3 goals, not 4. Three
You need
goals to
to score
level the tie.
3 goals to level the tie. So if you score one, Then
So
you're relying on an Istanbul there, basically,
yeah. So in theory,
in
it's probably
Madrid.
not so like in hypothetically speaking, right? We
You've
go to
won
the
3-0 away in the Champions League many times. It's not like you can't do it.
not at the Bernabeu though. That's the thing.
But not the Bernabeu, not with that team. Do you know what
Not
I
with
mean?
that
Not with
team.
that
Yeah,
midfield, man. Not with that
yeah,
defense.
exactly.
You know,
So
give me some old Liverpool teams, and I'm backing you just about, but not with that team, mate.
if it was at Anfield, right, then I thought, you know what,
Yeah,
they'd probably like the Barcelona thing last
yeah,
couple of
yeah.
seasons ago when we got battered, and
You
then
got
at Anfield we blew them away, and
yeah.
we went
Divock
to
Origi, yeah.
the legend
You
that is
had Origi
Divock,
scoring, man, out of all
yeah,
people.
the legend that is Divock. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just can't see it. I think Real Madrid will score as well.
Bruv,
So
it's not going to happen. So I
no,
think Klopp looks at this now and he says, right, I don't know what's going through Klopp's mind now because he must be driving. He must be home by now, right? And he's probably just about to like. He probably just walked through the door. To be fair, after he's done all this media and stuff and had his chat with the
yeah,
players, he's just walking through the door now, thinking, "All right, you know
what,
what?
what the fuck was that?
We got yeah, yeah. What the fuck was that? Why did I go to work?" But
Yeah,
secondly, and it's on you, Klopp. In my opinion, is just as much on Klopp as it is the players. I think people dig out Liverpool players, fans, Liverpool fans. You hear them on the radio saying, "Wait, we got shit players. We got to." It's up to the manager to find a way to win. That's
yeah,
always been the manager's job.
yeah,
The find the way to win has always been the manager's job in any football club, and that's why Sean Dyche is why he's known as you know the ginger dinosaur, whatever you want to call him, because he plays shit fossil football, but he
yeah,
gets you results. Tony Pulis on a Tuesday night away to Stoke became a football metaphor where now we still say it, but can you do it on a Tuesday night away to Stoke, even though they got
yeah,
relegated like how many seasons ago? So these players have
mm,
earned a reputation for getting results over football. For me, Klopp, today you got schooled in terms of tactics. You were naive because you didn't contain Real Madrid. You went toe to toe, and in the first half it was good, but mate, it was only a matter of time before cream rises to the top. But coming back to these fixtures here, Sully, tell
yeah.
me where you think, like, you've got two games on Tottenham or fourth. Um, you're is it 8 points off the Premier League, of fourth at the
Of
moment? I think.
fourth.
Yeah, I'm having a look at it now. So
I know
Spurs
we
are
got a game.
42.
I
You
know
got
we got
two
a game.
games
Yeah,
and you're 7 points. That's not a lot. You got two
it's,
games and you're 7 points. So you win those
yeah,
two games.
and it's still what we're third week of February, right?
Yeah,
There's
45
time.
points to play.
There's
Yeah,
time to make up ground because if the
plenty of
other
time.
teams, they're gonna win, they're gonna drop points similar to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have to keep putting aside the result tonight. The back on the last two, if we keep doing what we need to do, then momentum might happen. It's a
So
big if, right?
I'll tell you like what gives you Champions League football every year in the Premier League is around 70 points. It's
Mm,
about 67, 68, 66 some seasons. But if you say 70 in your mind, you know you're getting Champions League football.
yeah,
Now at the moment, Tottenham are 42. So Tottenham are 30 points, 28 points. 28 divided by 3 is what we saying? Nine, nine-ish.
mm,
Nine-ish, right? Nine-ish wins away from Champions League football. They're 9 wins away with 15 games to play,
yeah,
right? So they're 9 games, so they can lose five. If we're just talking round numbers, they can lose five and get Champions League football. Liverpool are 35 points. They need another 35. And you've got basically 8 and 8. You've got 16 games. 16 games, and Tottenham have 14 games. So those 2 games you've got will take you up to within a point of Spurs. And then it's just out of Tottenham and Liverpool and Newcastle. And we have to give a bit of respect to Fulham and Brighton, but I think they're going to fall away. So in terms of
yeah.
Big Six, those three teams are going to be going for fourth, um, in a couple of weeks' time. I mean, really, let's be honest. If you did if you did turn it around in Madrid, are you really going to win the Champions League with this team? Probably not, mate. Probably not. I'm talking to the
Probably
next
not.
level. I mean, if you beat Madrid, everyone said you can go on and win it because you've beaten probably one of the best teams. But you know what? It's a matter of time
If
before
bro, if we beat Madrid, somehow a miracle happens at the Bernabeu and we score 4 goals,
miracle in Madrid,
we're gonna do a 2-hour podcast, bro. Invite everyone. Invite
mate.
everyone.
Mate, I tell you what we'll do, mate. We will do it in Madrid. We will fly out to
Yeah,
Madrid, mate. The next day
I
we'll fly.
mean,
There'll still be Liverpool fans walking
it's
around
out.
there.
Yeah, it ain't gonna
But it ain't
happen.
gonna
But
happen. So you've now
uh,
just got to throw the towel in, right? And
Yeah,
just say, Madrid, thank you very much. See you next year in the
yeah.
Champions League. Because guess what? We're
Hopefully
going to
not.
get fourth.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
you always do. Real Madrid love
We
Liverpool and
we meet
Liverpool
them
love Madrid.
somewhere along the line, either the
Yeah,
final
yeah, it's tough love.
or
It's
yeah,
tough
yeah,
love, man. Always. And Man City normally get PSG. But the
yeah,
thing is, for me, I'm looking at these results, and I think Klopp's just got to be man enough to look in the mirror and go, I got it wrong. The players didn't perform. We ain't winning this tie. Forget this tie. We got Fulham and Bournemouth in between that game because you got a 3 day break. You
yeah,
play on the 11th, sorry, 4 days, but you got a day traveling. So you play on the 11th, and then on the 15th, which is a midweek game, you travel to Spain, and then you come back, and then literally 2 days later, because a day goes in traveling, more or less, half a day, whatever. You wake up the next morning, you got 1 day of training, and you've got Fulham at home, which is going to be difficult because Fulham are playing really well this season. Like, they know what they're doing. So I think with the Man United game there as well, I think Klopp has to throw this tie. I mean, do you think that is right to do? Do you think he should, from a Liverpool point of view, he should be like, no, we're Liverpool Football Club? Or do you
Do you know?
think
Do,
throw it?
the th- you never know in football, right? You never.
I
That's the thing.
love it.
You never know in football, and if you go to the Bernabeu and get an early goal, right?
Oh, he's dreaming. He's
You,
dreaming.
you're just like you're potentially 2 goals away. But the problem is going to be is we can't keep the back door closed. That's the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Ain't really got a
So
back door, man, at the
yeah, yeah,
moment.
yeah.
But
So
yeah, I know what
that's
you
going to
mean.
be the problem. But you know what? I mean, it's what March the 15th, right? I mean, we can put that to rest now. Put it. Focus on these
Hmm.
league games and then think about
What other
Madrid.
cups are you in?
That's it.
Okay.
And
So
we're at
after
this one as well,
so if you
probably.
look between Liverpool, Fulham,
Mm.
so if you do go to Madrid and you play some youngsters or whatever, maybe you start your first 11, you get to halftime and go, we ain't winning this, and then you just take off your
Oh,
Salas
we've
and
got
say,
some
go, go.
hard games, in it? Man City,
You got some
Chelsea, and
hard games in
Arsenal. Yeah,
April, mate. April Fools, mate. Man City, mate.
yeah,
April Fools Day, mate. You might want to turn off your phone that day, man, because going to Man City with that midfield,
mm,
and that defense, I can just see Grealish taking the piss out of Trent or Foden. Mahrez
yeah,
taking the piss on his side. Haaland having a field day against Gomez. It's going to be messy, mate. So I'm looking at this run in, mate, and I think you need to focus on the league, silly man. I think you just throw it, mate. You just imagine. Look, it was a very bad day at the office, but you can still get fourth. And for me, Liverpool Football Club not in the Champions League next year and in the Europa League, kind of FSG can hide behind well, we're not in the Champions League, so we're not going to spend 200 million. But if you
yeah,
make fourth, the fans and the manager going, you're in the Champions League, and the Champions League is guaranteed 50 mil generally.
yeah, yeah,
Once you
yeah,
get into the last 16 quarters, that's your 50, 60 mil there. That's a world class centre back.
yeah. No, I agree. I think the only problem is who do you even play in the second leg then? I
Just
mean,
play the kids, man.
well, get absolutely hammered.
Mate,
I th-
take it. Just 11 behind the ball. Go to
yeah,
Madrid to enjoy the sun and enjoy the tapas and come back. And the women.
I personally think he will give it a go because he's probably going to be able to believe that if we get one back early, then we could get two. Who
No,
knows, right?
I think you start your first 11. You get to
Yeah,
60 minutes. It's still 5-2. It might
and
even
then
be
bring it.
6-2, yeah. And you just
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
listen,
yeah, you know,
get an early shower,
yeah.
right? And
Because in the Champions League, how many subs can you make? Five, right?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, it's the
Five. So you
same
could,
minute as the PL, I
yeah.
think.
So you
Yeah.
you could change half the team effectively, even before half
Yeah,
time
you
or after
can.
half time. So
Yeah. You
yeah, to
just
keep it respectable,
you, you
because
you
then
give your players that need a run out. So Yotta might need a run out.
yeah,
Diaz,
Firmino, yeah,
Diaz, Firmino,
yeah,
Curtis, give him some big game experience, even though you just say, listen, lads, forget the scoreline. We lost this about 3 weeks ago. I'm
yeah,
just going to let you play in a high intense environment with, intimidating fans. Was it 80K at the Bernabeu, whatever it is, like one of the
mm,
best stadiums in the world. Learn from this, show me what you can do. I'm not worried about the scoreline. This is a Bayern Munich Arsenal job now. And I think
yeah,
Bayern Munich battered Tottenham as well a few years ago, 7-2 or whatever it was. I can't remember at the Lane, at the new stadium. Actually, I was there. And we just left at like 70 minutes. The fans just started leaving, thinking that this is getting to a point where
It's not
I'm
worth staying
now,
around. Yeah,
yeah, I'm now personally, I'm taking this personally as a fan now. Like, this is more than just losing of game of football. This is taking the piss.
yeah.
So I think you've got to do that, man. Because if you get back in the Champions League, Liverpool's arrow, whilst it might have taken a dip, it'll go back up. It will
Mm.
go back north again, because the fact you're in the Champions League means so many things. I think it means that certain players that you might want to renew your contract, you can go with the Champions League angle. I don't know. I mean, who is it that you'd really want to renew? Any of these guys coming? Any of your
No, I
superstars?
mean Ox is going, Kate is going, Milner's going. The only guy we've offered a 2-year deal to is Firmino, and he's kind of thinking about it. But I think Atletico might be in for him. He might have offers from Saudi teams,
Yeah.
so he's a bit undecided. But I think that's part of the reason why they maybe move for Gapco, because they know that
Mm,
Firmino is going to move on. So you
mm.
were saying earlier, like the top half is kind of heavy loaded. If
Very top
Firmino
heavy.
goes, then he's still got 5 attackers, right? But then they got to concentrate on the midfield
Mate, if
and
Liverpool buy
probably,
another striker on attacker,
yeah. Nah, they won't. Every Liverpool fans thinking about. We need to buy midfield players.
the,
We
the
need at
thing
least
is,
3.
any football game, whether it's five-a-side with your mates or 7-11-a-side, wherever you play, right, as a
Mm,
striker, you need service. And this is why Man United and Rashford are scoring so many goals, because Bruno and Casemiro can supply. Those guys can supply a ball on a
yeah,
sixpence, yeah, into the right zones and areas for Rashford to run into. The only reason Rashford's scoring all these goals is I give him the whole thing for being confident and Ronaldo going, but people don't talk about enough of where was the supply. Where's the supply coming from? And Bruno and Casemiro are quality suppliers of the ball. You look at
and Ericsson
Liverpool.
before he got injured.
Ericsson, we haven't even talked about. Absolutely bang on, mate.
Yeah,
Ericsson, the wings are producing as well with
mm,
Garnacho, and obviously Anthony started the season well. Um, and Sancho coming. They've got the ingredients. You look at Liverpool, and it's like, I feel sorry for Klopp. I do think he's naive, and I don't think he's done the best to stop Real Madrid today. I think he went toe to toe. But then there's a part of me where I'm like, 30% you're naive, 30% I blame the squad, which means I basically blame the owners, because
yeah,
they provide the money to buy the squad or recruitment. And then the other 30%, you obviously blame the players, because you want, like you said earlier, how can you just let common sense? How can you just let a player run across 6 players and score that
yeah,
goal
yeah.
with Militao? How can you let Benzema face up 3 Liverpool players and still get a shot on target?
Mm.
That's where you blame the players. But it's a big mess, mate. And I don't know where you go from here. I mean, I think the only thing that can save the season is fourth, isn't it? Really?
Well, it's been a disastrous season, whichever way you look at it. When you go to the summer period, wherever we finish, we're like, if we somehow get fourth, you think to yourself, how did we even manage that with the
Yep.
team that we've got, it being a World Cup season, so it's a bit of a weird season in that sense.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's been a big letdown. I think we'll be much better next season, partly because we wouldn't have played so many games. There will be new, the midfield's gonna be refreshed, younger players, maybe get a centre back in as well. I think the
Yep.
top half, the attacking front is good, and they might just be rejuvenated, but it remains to be seen. We'll just see. I mean,
A lot of
r-
work, isn't there? A lot of
yeah,
work.
there's a lot of work, but Klopp seems to be up for it, so he knows that. The funny thing about Liverpool, right, is for the last 8 years, 8 to 10 years, they
Mm.
were seen as the model club. What I mean
Mm.
by that is like the likes of Arsenal and the such like they're looking at Liverpool thinking, right,
The
you had
template.
the template, you had
Yeah.
Michael Edwards, you had the research and data science team, you had the scout set up, right? And they're picking up players like Andrew Robertson for 8 million from Hull, and then Klopp
Mm.
turning into like a world beater, right? Trent being promoted from the youth side, then picking up Salah from Roma, I think it was,
Mm.
and Mane from Southampton, turning they weren't world beaters, right? Firmino
Yeah.
was already there because Rogers bought him, turned him into the player he's now or was,
Mm.
picking up Van Dijk. But these players, they've worked really hard for Klopp for the last 5 seasons, and
Yep.
they're only human, right? And they just they need help basically. They need younger
You
players.
also played the most games, didn't you, last season as a
Yeah,
fit
fit. Well,
one?
Hendo played 57. He played 57 games, which is more than
Mad.
Man City played the
You had the
whole.
quad, innit? You had the quad to the last
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of weeks,
And
didn't you?
you know what? If Villa didn't flop in the last 15 minutes, right, Premier League was going to be on. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and the
true.
Champions League we played quite well actually, and Courtois was man of the match, and that says a lot. If the goalkeeper is the man of the match, then you know the opposition has played well, and then obviously by not winning the one of the bigger trophies, I think that had a psychological effect on the players because
Mm.
either the Premier League or the Champions League is the one you really want. Yeah, it's great to win the FA Cup and the other one, but the two big ones everyone knows is the Premier League or the Champions League. And I think psychologically they just feel like we were so close, but yet so far. And if we had done
It's
the
winging it,
quadruple,
isn't it? When you wing it, you get
yeah,
found out eventually. You know, it's like not Klopp wasn't winging it; he was getting blood out of a stone. You just mentioned there the Liverpool players were willing to run through brick walls for him.
yeah,
But the problem is, couple of injuries, couple of niggles, and not enough subs off the bench, not enough backup for to refresh those legs. 57 games you said Hendo played, mate. That's crazy for someone who plays in midfield. You
mm,
know, who's not a 23-year-old with legs, who's now at that point in his career. If you made Modric play that many games, would he survive? You know, the quality would eventually fade. You
no
can't
doubt.
put a person at that age through that level of
And
intensity week in, week out.
especially in the Premier League as well, because
It's
it's
physical,
fast paced,
quick.
physical.
Yeah.
And Hendo's been there, for example, for 10 years. He's been doing it 13 years, maybe actually in
But you
Liverpool.
know what?
So
If you make a player like Hendo do it, and we take the Modric example, and you put quality around him, serious quality like Modric has, then they can basically compensate for his lack of defensive work that Modric doesn't necessarily do.
yeah,
So
but
it's
you need to
almost
let
like saying, right, Modric, you know what, you're a cam, and you're the man that impacts the front more than anyone else in this midfield. You're the man that basically we get the ball to and you make it happen. So who is that guy in midfield for Liverpool? Like if it is Hendo, and he
we
does play well for England,
Hendo's no Modric. I mean,
not Modric, but the man who links the ball into attack. So when I look at Liverpool's midfield, I have to scratch my head a lot to think who's the link,
I
like
would
who's the
like.
Casemiro, who's the Bruno, who's the Ericsson. Do you know what I mean? Who is that guy?
Well, hopefully Bellingham's gonna be one of those.
No, I mean going back the last 2, 3 seasons, I've
Oh, I
always
mean,
felt you've
we've
never
had
really
different. Yeah,
felt that
yeah, yeah.
issue. Yeah,
Well, we've always had the different type of profile player. So Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Hendo, they're more like you know workman like players.
yep, yep,
Whereas Man City, you got KDB, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva, right? And David Silva when he was around. They're more like technical players, and I think Liverpool
correct.
tried to get to that level,
But
but
Liverpool then went with a very wide attacking way, right? So you'd have Trent, Bomon, who would replace the maybe lack of creating in midfield. You'd have
yeah,
Robertson join the attack together. So when that happened, you didn't lose too much creativity because creativity can come from the width, it can come from the middle. You know, it
yeah.
doesn't have to come just through a midfielder. It can come from many ways.
But then
The
it
main
can
thing is
become
to fly.
predictable as well. So teams were maybe catching on to that, like the wingers, bombing on and everything. So
But
I
then
think
you'd
they
have
try.
Hendo drop back, wouldn't you? You'd have Fabinho.
Yeah,
You'd have so when you went with that wide width and that pace, raw
mm,
pace and quality with both of those guys crossing in enough crosses for Mane, and it was always
Salah.
crosses. You know,
Yeah,
Salah,
yeah,
all those guys at the back post. It was like everyone knows what Liverpool were going to do, but they couldn't stop it because they were too good at it. And
yeah,
then it was like those guys would drop back. You'd always see Hendo almost going to a back three at
yeah,
times and
yeah,
sweep
yeah,
up. And it's like, okay, that worked. That worked. Okay, you won a Premier League, you won a Champions League doing that. Fantastic. And then it's like, well, now he's getting tired. Do we bring in the next Hendo who does the same thing? And then the guy who does the same thing as Winnie? Or do we now say, right, you know what, we're bringing an Ericsson, Madison. We change the way we supply the creativity to the front three. Because for me, Liverpool never changed or replaced, let's say, or even upgraded, like you
no,
said, the Winnie loss, the Hendo
yeah,
aging, and the number of games. So it's like Klopp must be sitting there in his whiteboard, and they live, eat, and breathe this stuff, right? Tactically speaking, like with their coaches, and they must have like at some point knocked on that door really hard a few times and said, listen, we need to go and get X. Like, for example, in the World Cup, the Moroccan guy, Amrabat,
mm,
he was smashing it for Morocco in the midfield and he was making Morocco look a lot better, because he was being like the 2-in-1. You know, he was he
Yeah,
was he was basically running through brick walls. Hendo can't do that anymore, right? Keita's always injured. Fabinho's always injured. Ronaldo moved on, who shouldn't have sold, just like you shouldn't have sold Mane.
yeah,
And it's like these are basic things, you know. So it's not like intricate, like complex decision making that you need to put in a certain profile of player. Like it's a really obvious big hole. And like this hole,
yeah.
people talk about it this season, but I feel that hole's like someone 3 years ago would have looked at that Liverpool midfield and gone, we have to future plan.
Exactly. And what I was trying to say earlier is Liverpool's model was they were thinking ahead, right?
Yes,
But
exactly.
somewhere they missed a beat
They
in the
missed a
midfield,
they missed a
and I
bit.
think there's something there was something said a while back when they gave Hendo the new 4-year contract.
Mm.
Um, Michael Edwards at the time didn't agree with it, and don't know if it was a coincidence. Apparently, the following week he handed in his resignation. He said, I've been here 10 years, blah blah blah. But apparently the rumor is he didn't agree with giving Hendo the 4-year deal because that would take him up to like 34, 35. So yeah, and the Klopp apparently intervened to get that deal done. I don't know if that was the right thing. It might have
Mm.
been the right thing because club captain and he's still done quite a lot. But I mean, Fabinho's just fallen off a cliff basically. I don't know what's happened
The
to
thing
him.
is, if you got a quality player like a Modric or an Eriksen, you don't
Mm,
want to sell him because he's old and his legs have gone. What you want to do is what Madrid have done with Modric. And I'm not comparing Modric and Hendo, but the point I'm trying to make is if you've got a player that does really well in a system that you've played for 3, 4 years, and he knows the players, he knows the Salahs, and he knows how to play in that system. You spent 5, 6 years coaching him. He's now playing at a really high level. You then
mm,
say, I don't need to retrain someone new, but I need to put a left and right next to you that's going to compensate for the bit that you lose as you age and your legs go. But I still want your attacking, systematic brain on this pitch, like Modric is doing for Real Madrid. They've
yeah,
they've basically put the sides in to say, right, where you lose legs to do with age, nothing to do with like you don't want to run back. You just can't. It is what it is. But we
mm.
compensate your weakness with the people around you so we don't lose your strength. And I feel like with Hendo, he was the key in that cog
Well,
for
when
Mane and Salah.
100%. So when he did have that running ability, when he had the legs,
Mm,
Trent got he got that protection, right?
mm,
But because he doesn't have that protection now, Trent is getting more exposed,
exposed, yeah.
which
Yeah.
which he is. So that number
Yeah,
six
because he'd go
position,
into a back three. Hendo would go into a back three, or he'd go into the right back. He would float.
yeah. I mean, if I was Liverpool, right? Um, I wanted to ask you a question actually
But I was going to
because
say on that point once, actually, wasn't Cater that guy? Because you did put your hand in your pocket. Cater was supposed to be that guy,
he
right?
was he was meant to be, but he
Mm,
didn't show up, right? So a couple of seasons ago, Basuma, right? He was bossing it at Brighton,
mm,
absolutely bossing it, right?
mm,
And then I was listening to other podcasts,
mm.
and um, one guy in particular I do listen to regularly, right? He was saying it would be perfect for LFC, right? And then I think he did something last summer, but anyway, Spurs bought him.
He was allegedly accused
Yeah,
of something, sexual
yeah,
assault or something. Yeah, 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 yeah.
something like in a nightclub or something like that,
It
right?
was all alleged, allegedly. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
to. Yeah, yeah.
So he like, and then I saw him play against Liverpool, and I thought, blimey, we could do with someone like him.
Mm.
And then he went Spurs, and he wasn't starting many games, was he?
No, so Conte does this. So with Porro, with
Yeah,
Spence, with Basuma, um, with players that don't understand the Conte way. Conte is one of these managers where he will stick a superstar on the bench if you haven't learnt the basics of Conte ball. And those
yeah,
basics are not score a goal
mm,
or run around. Those basics are working within your space, your zones. Like Conte will tell you where to pass. Conte will tell you where to be. Conte will tell you, like it's basically right. He's giving you the instruction manual, like an IKEA instruction manual. This is how you play, and he then tests you in training and tests you. And you could be a superstar. You could have had a blinding season for your previous club. You could be like coming on for 5 minutes and the crowd are seeing something good from an attacking point. But if you haven't done the defensive bit, Conte's not going to
yeah,
start you. He's so detailed in his ways that you should respond in so many situations that if you don't do it, he's not going to cut you slack. And this is
Yeah.
why Pierre Højbjerg, Bentancur, Kulusevski,
They
the thing with
play.
Conte is, I'll tell you this is when everyone gets it, let me stop that. When everyone gets it, like the squad gets the way he wants them to play,
Mm,
then it comes down to are you good enough in terms of have you got the quality. So this is where Spurs fans have a problem with Levy and Enoch is Conte knows what he wants. Conte tells you what he wants as a player. He's very clear and he's got the template and he's got the winning recipe. He's done it at Juve,
mm,
he's done it at Inter, and he's done it in the Premier League and the FA Cup.
yeah.
Okay, forget FA Cup, it's 6 games or whatever it is. But the Premier League's where you really earn your money and you can say, I am shit hot as a
y-
manager, right? Because it's a very difficult league to win.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to like, I've done everything, and Conte's going, I've done everything with this lot. I can't do anymore.
Mm,
They are half of them are good and they get it and they play my way. The other half don't get it. Or there's 3 or 4 um, key positions, whether it's Eric Dyer or Ben Davis, that just don't have the technical ability and talent to do the bit that I need to make us winners. So we get players like Basuma in thinking he's going to absolutely smash it.
yeah.
But I don't think he's got the Conte thing mixed with playing the event or the game or the occasion rather than the
Mm,
game, which comes down to coolness of character because he's at a big club now. He's
yeah.
at Brighton.
And that's the danger, right? By getting carried away with players. So Chelsea, again, I was like reading something that
Mm,
Chelsea bought Mudryk because it was the next best thing, right?
mm.
But then he's not really done much since he's arrived,
Yeah, that one good
and the
season, I
play,
think.
yeah, the player I had in mind to compare to Basuma. So Basuma, when he left Brighton, they
Mm,
had Salcido lined up, right?
mm.
Now, Salcido, they're saying they want 80 million or something like that.
Brighton.
Some,
Yeah,
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 right. So some
yeah,
madness, right?
yeah.
Now, no doubt he's a good player, right? 20, 21 years old, runs around, got stamina, he can play a bit as
But what
well.
you're saying is he going to be like Basuma where he can't do it maybe in a top 6 club?
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Like because players that come to these clubs, right? The pressure can like Sancho, right?
yeah,
The guy had to send him out into the mountains in
yeah. That's
Holland
a good point.
somewhere, and then so I think Pep saw some didn't see much in
I
him.
think we'll see with Trossard. The pressure of a title race, the pressure of playing for the badge of Arsenal.
This
It
that's the
might be
one
too
I
much for him. Might be
that
too
this
much
is
for him.
so he
Might be.
had this. This is a strange one for me in the sense that he had 6 months to go on his deal, and they could be paying 27 million for him,
Mm.
like, and he's 28.
But I, I,
That's
I rate that because when you are in a unique position,
that
the
they are.
title race, I
Yeah,
think you've got to do unique things, and you've got to do things you wouldn't necessarily do because of the
yeah,
circumstances you find yourself in. So it's almost like like it could be like back in the dating days, you got this really hot girl, and
mm,
you don't want to spend like more than 70, 80 quid on a dinner.
yeah,
But you got to take her to a £200 restaurant to impress her because you're
yeah.
like, if I do that, I've got more chance of winning it. More chance of a second date. And it's like
Yeah.
Arsenal found themselves in this position where like we're in the Michelin star
No, it's true, it's true.
environment and they have to spend.
But G was saying that they should have went out and bought a striker, like, or what, in
It's not
January,
as
bro.
easy as that,
It's
yeah.
hard, man. How many
I,
world class
listen,
strikers do you? How many?
I put on Instagram on the Footy Fanatics on our channel, and I put it on here.
Yeah,
I snipped a clip of the YouTube show,
yeah,
and a couple of weeks back, and I thought Arsenal had a crap window. I rated it 6 out of 10.
mm,
It's still up there. I haven't deleted it.
yeah,
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm happy to say I got it wrong or it's an oversight. And I look at it now, and I think Jorginho knows the league, won the Premier League,
yeah,
plays the Arsenal way, has something to prove.
mm,
Actually, it's a good signing from that point of view. It's not an 80 mil, but it's a
no,
good signing. It's
yeah.
pound for pound good
Smart.
value.
It's a,
It's
s-
smart.
it's a
It's
smart, and he scored
smart.
over the weekend as well.
And he scored over weekend, and
Yeah,
he's actually given them what Party hasn't given them in terms of a bit more je ne sais quoi, if you know what I mean, a bit of
yeah, yeah. It's
finesse.
passing. Yeah,
Maybe going the other way. Obviously, Party's a boss in that
yeah.
sense, but in terms of a little bit of creativity and a little bit of different thing, he's given them something different. It's a good signing.
Yeah,
Trossard, Premier League, smashing it internationally cheap-ish. Okay, 30 mil. But what's 30 mil these days? I think you were saying on the last show on episode 5, you need to have you spend like 80, 90 mil to get a world-class player. Then 50
yeah,
million, 40 million days are gone. But
yeah,
Arsenal did So as to your point about did Arsenal miss the trick with the striker, I agree with you in the sense that Nketiah is not good enough to hold up Jesus's level, but Nketiah was doing really well. Funny how he timed it whilst the January window was open. So you're
Mm,
kind of looking at it, and it's like when Harry Kane came through, we were like, this young guy, man, like when Adebayo, I think it was, got injured, whoever it was, I was like, okay, he's young, he's cool, but one for the future. But then he went on to become
yeah,
the best, one of the best in the world, and definitely the best for Spurs, recently beating Jimmy Greaves' record, right, for all time.
yeah,
Because sometimes you look at a youngster and you go, I'm not going to change this. This guy's like taken to this opportunity so well. And Ketty was scoring, I think, Madrid, sorry, not Madrid, Man United at home. He scored, did he score 2 goals? The last goal he scored, the 3-2. Anyways, in that period over January in the window, he was scoring goals. So
yeah,
as an Arsenal fan, and even as Arteta, I'm sitting there going, and they're probably sitting there every day. You saw the Amazon or nothing. They sit in that little office there where they do and that, and
yeah,
Vinay and those guys, right? There's three, four of them. Going, do you know, do we really want to go and buy a player for the sake of it when in the summer we can go and buy an A target like a Vlahovic, someone that we really need, or an Ivan Tony, and just put the money down. Like
yeah,
everyone has their A's and B's and C's. I imagine it's like if they have a whiteboard, they have 4 columns: striker,
yeah.
midfield, defender, and goalkeeper, and they have their A's across the top like a
You, you,
spreadsheet,
you,
and another B's.
you know who they should target? I think will suit Arsenal to the T is Osimhen from Napoli. He scored again
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, a lot of
I think
players,
United are
a
targeting.
lot
He's
of
going to cost
clubs.
out over 100 because he's 24, pace, power, Nigerian guy, right? So there's a bit about him. I think
Yeah.
he's probably going to be the next up and coming superstar.
You know what?
And
I think I look at your club, Liverpool, with Mane, Firmino, and Salah. Salah
yeah,
is very similar to Saka. Saka, I should
mm,
say. Let me turn that around. Saka is showing the strength, the finishing, and the pace of Salah.
yeah,
Right? He's got strength. Right? He's got pace and he's got cleverness, and he reminds me of a mini Salah. On the
yeah,
left, Martinelli, you could argue with the Mane comparison. He needs to beef up a bit. He needs to get more physical, but he's got
yeah,
that raw pace. And I see what Arteta's doing here. He's got pace on both wings. He's got great technicians on both wings, and they're young, right? Then in the middle's the missing piece, and Jesus for me is good. He's good, right?
he's
He gets.
he's a streaky kind of player. He'll
Yeah,
score goals, but
but I
not
feel
like
he's not he's not the Firmino. For
mm,
me, like someone like a Tony, I'm talking like a focal point like Firmino, someone who could
yeah,
play in a false nine and let those like Jesus does. Jesus plays in a false nine a lot. He's not out and out on the shoulder always. He likes to come
yeah,
back and get involved, and that's why he's got so many assists. But you see, the problem with that is that's great whilst it works with Jesus in the middle, Martinelli left, and Saka right. I get that, and that's why they've got so much success, and it works really well. But at
mm,
some point, they're going to need a real bully up front with those two on the side. And Firmino was that guy for you, so strong. The hold up play for Salah, the hold up play for Mane, Hendo there. It was like I can see Arsenal going that way, but I just feel they're missing the lion up top. And that's why for me, like a Tony, he's not technically amazing in the sense that he's gonna
but
like whip through balls in,
he's a finisher.
but he'll hold up and he'll finish and he'll allow
Yeah,
the others to come in and play that Liverpool way in
yeah,
2019 when you guys were smashing
yeah,
at the peak of your powers. And I see what Arteta's doing. And listen, we talked about Man City missing the middleman. We've been talking
mm,
about for years, like who's going to be the next man, the Aguero from
yeah,
Man City. Jesus couldn't, for whatever reason, do it. And that's why Pep sold him because he thought, you know what, you're
mm,
just not good enough.
mm,
You're okay for top four, you're not okay for winning leagues. So you can go. I need champion material here. He then went and got the best striker that he could have in Erling Haaland. The problem is that they just haven't found the right balance. Pep just hasn't found the right balance. So, it's a case of now Pep gets Erling Haaland right, we're in trouble.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
in trouble,
But
man.
that's a big question. If will he be able to get him into that system? Because that's always been like the big question. Because no doubt he scored a shed load of goals this season, and I think
For
we talked
fun.
about
Mm,
on Sunday, right?
mm.
But when it comes to some of the bigger games, he does. tend to go a little bit
I
missing,
think
and
I
it
think I
does
think
affect their
Pep.
formation
The thing is, because Pep's been playing with the false nine,
for
with
most of his career with
most of
Messi and
yeah.
Bayern Munich. He had Lewandowski, so maybe he didn't.
Well, the thing
Um,
is, Haaland's not going to drop back necessarily that much to then
mm,
create. That's not his
no,
game. His game
yeah,
is ball into feet, let's go. And he's
mm,
actually, if you look at Liverpool, the way they played in them peak years a few years ago, it was like four, five, six passes in the back of the net. There was no tiki. There was tiki taka when you needed it,
yeah,
but it was like a waves, 4, 5 waves, and you score 3 goals out of those 4, 5, 6 waves, whatever. And I
yeah,
feel like Pep's game is not suited to Haaland.
mm,
The wave of Liverpool attacks that was under Klopp in them good days um, would suit Haaland more because it's like we don't need that much possession, but we attack you in big moments by
hmm,
turning over the ball and going bang, and
yeah,
almost a bit counter-attacking, almost a bit relying more on pace than 18 passes to get a goal. You're
yeah,
now just taking 6 passes because the thing with Haaland is by the time City have passed it 5 times, everyone's got back,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
set and they're back in their two banks of four. Whereas if City didn't do the 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15 passes before creating a chance, Haaland's going to have the pace and the speed and the extra yard to beat his man if there's 4 passes and the balls come in. So
yeah,
that's what's missing for Pep. I look at Pep's team and I go, it's not built for Haaland, and Haaland's not built for Pep, and that's why it's not working because you're trying to create the perfect goal. Forget that. 4, 5 passes max from back to front, and boom, in she goes. And when you look at De Bruyne, when he takes, forget the tiki taka, he just gets the ball and delivers it. What does Haaland do? He puts it in the back of the net. How many
yeah, yeah,
assists of his have come from a cross from somewhere, or a ball that's coming straight direct? Very few of his goals. He's not Messi, like you said. The tiki taka ain't gonna work with Haaland, man. Like, if they want tiki taka, right, they need a false nine.
mm,
They need a false
yeah,
nine.
yeah, yeah,
If they want Haaland to get 30 goals every season, they need to play the Klopp Liverpool way, 6 passes and into Haaland. I'm talking back to front.
yeah,
Um, City watching them is so frustrating because even Ricky will ask him this when he's next on. There's times when you're like, there's the runner, Haaland. He's off, he's
and
waiting,
and they're
and
not
you've gone
making
that
that
way.
pass. Yeah,
And you've
yeah,
gone that
yeah,
way. And you
yeah,
and you just keep rotating the ball.
yeah.
And I think that's Pep's weakness. That's his weakness.
It'll be interesting to see him how he adapts to the team next season, and who they buy over the summer as well, because
Hmm.
they are gonna spend money, but yeah, good. It's been a
I
good
think I,
debate,
I,
bro.
I think Man City.
Mm,
You've got like the midfield there with Calvin Phillips in the background. You've got players like John Stones, Laporte.
yeah,
Um, you've got what 3 or 4 players there where I think Pep needs to either make his decision now. We're going to stick with these guys, or he goes out in the summer and refreshes it again because the refresh costs time because you then need to bring them into your philosophy. So
mm,
sometimes managers have to go, do you know what? You've had you for 3, 4 years. You're not exactly what I expected you to be, but I'm going to keep you because you get what I'm trying to do with you guys. Yeah, you get the coaching. And then there's other times where you think, nah, just refresh, get 4 or 5 players. And if you look at the summer window, Man City decided to keep what they had. They didn't
mm.
go too hardcore, did they? Neither did they
No,
in
they
January.
didn't.
Because Pep
Yeah,
sat there and goes, you know what, I'll work with this bunch. I've
yeah,
I've refreshed the Regueros and the Fernandinhos, and I've got rid of a few players, but I'm going to stick with this lot. But it's not quite worked. So now he's got to go back to the summer drawing board and go, do I keep Laporte? Do I keep Stones? I got rid of Cancelo because he didn't get it. Who plays next to Rodri in midfield? Bernardo Silva. They're aging. Gundogan.
they're gonna need to do something in central midfield in the summer because, to your point, they are aging. KDB is
They're
not getting
aging.
any
But
younger.
I still think there's a season left in Gundogan. I think you look at them, you look
Is
at
it?
Silva, he was the best player pretty much on the pitch against
Yeah. Isn't
against Arsenal.
Gundogan in his last year of his contract, or did he sign an
I th-
extension?
I,
Can't
th- I
remember.
think I think Gundogan is, or is it Silva? I can't remember actually, mate.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
remember.
it's one, and
Yeah,
it's interesting to when I
I
saw
think it's
the
Silva. Was it
yeah, and he
Gundogan?
plays
Yeah,
Gundogan a little bit further forward as well now, doesn't he? In
yeah,
in
but
that
they've
formation
gone through the Pep degree.
school. Yeah,
They've
yeah,
gone through the
yeah,
school of Pep. Perfect. Yeah,
yeah.
they've gone through that school of Pep where, now new players come in, they're gonna have to go through the school of Pep.
That's
Arteta
the
did that last
yeah,
season. He did the school of Arteta
yeah.
last
That's
season.
that,
Where
that's the
you
one thing I rate about what's the one thing I like about Pep, right? He's brave. Like he'll go with some mad formations, like play three at the back. Like,
for,
do you know what I mean?
yeah, like a
He
Christmas
he
tree
won't.
upside down, isn't it?
Yeah, he won't play with a recognised fullback, so they're massively exposed back. And he tries it, and I think he
He's an
tried that
innovator.
again.
He's an
He,
innovator.
he
He's
tried that
changed the
against
game.
Arsenal, and they won 3-1.
Yeah.
But
Listen,
it's good.
when I saw Pep come to White Hart Lane, Tottenham
Mm,
Hotspur Stadium, a couple of weeks back here, and I saw that formation, I went, you know what? What's this man thinking, right? He's basically flooded the midfield, and then he's got his top three up front. And I'm thinking, we're going to get joy. We're going to get joy down this. And Conte
yeah,
on the day did what Jose's done, and we played compact, and we said, you can have the ball, but you're not
mm,
having it in the final third. That you're definitely
yeah,
not getting. That's when we bite and we counter, and it
yeah,
worked pretty well, right? And we did press them up high. We weren't completely like
mm,
low block. We did press them, but you press them in moments where it made sense, not
yeah,
when. No, we didn't press them when, like, they've flooded the midfield, and they're ticky tacking it around. Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead. But as soon as they started coming in, it was like the players got compact and started pressing, and those
yeah,
bits of pressing along the top. So Conte did his job on him. But for me, I look at Pep and I think, like, at the moment, it's not working. You could say it's working and not working with Haaland, right? It's a 50-50 thing. But
yeah,
then you've got to ask yourself, if, like, say, like in the Champions League, they're playing Real Madrid in the next round, right? Or they're
mm.
playing a Bayern Munich or a PSG, they're going to expose Pep's weaknesses more than any other team in the Premier League will do it.
I
You know,
think I think sometimes he over engineers and thinks too much. And in the Champions League final, who did they play? Chelsea, right?
Chelsea, yeah.
He
He,
tried
he
to
didn't
over
start
engineer,
Fernandinho, did he?
and a season before in the semi-final, he tried to do the same
But
thing.
maybe he's trying to outdo the opposition's tactics and game plan by throwing in a curveball.
But then
That
he, then
that
he,
might be his
but
thing.
then he kind of curving his own team as well because they're not used to playing that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah. I hear you,
I,
mate.
some-
Yeah.
I sometimes you got to stick to what you know best,
The thing is,
especially
if you've
in those.
trained all week and you said,
Yeah,
guys, look, on this game, we're going to go three at the back, I don't know, we're going to change it up to what we normally do, right?
mm,
And you've trained on it all week and the players get it and they go out and win, then he's a genius. It's like, wow,
mm,
Pep
yeah.
outthought, who was it for Chelsea, the manager? And it must have been before Lampard. So
Oh,
uh, um, oh, it
was it?
no, who
Was it?
was it, man?
No, it wasn't Tuchel, was it? No, he was after.
It's Tuchel. It was Tuchel. Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea. Yeah, it was Tuchel.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, right, what a genius, right? He's
Mm,
basically nullified the opposition's, game plan by giving
mm,
them something different to think about.
mm,
But generally thinking, you'd say, right, start the game this way. And you're telling the guys in the week before saying, listen, if it's not working, we switch to this system. We
yeah.
do the different thing. But to start different is too risky because if you're a man down, and it's like, shit, you know what? We should have started with what we know works, and then we
Yeah.
should have thingied. Right, let's wrap up.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, mate? Before we head out.
No, no, it was a humbler for sure tonight. I mean, Real Madrid, they're a class above. They showed that. Um, we'll take our medicine and then focus on the league now. Next game, Crystal Palace on Saturday, I think it is, and hopefully we need to get 3 points. We need to keep climbing that league and hope we can sneak fourth place, but it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be
Otherwise,
tough. It's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
end
tough.
up in the Europa League, and no one likes Wednesday, Sunday football, Thursday, Sunday football.
Maybe Liverpool Football Club need to come out of this intense top four Champions League football and do an Arsenal, go down to fifth, get some youngsters in, refresh the
Uh,
squad, and Klopp point two comes out and goes again the next season. Sometimes a
Look, Man,
setback
Man,
can be
Man,
too
Man
forward.
United had to do it for the last 2 seasons, I think,
Yep,
right?
Chelsea will probably have
Or
to do
one
that
season,
now.
yeah, exactly. And you've got these teams: Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Newcastle. You talk about the top six, right? You might have to expand it now.
I know.
Liverpool,
Expanding
Liverpool are
every
not.
year.
Yeah, yeah, Liverpool are not even in the top
Change
six.
the name of this channel, man.
Yeah,
Big
yeah, yeah,
seven, yeah.
exactly. So the Premier League is very competitive now. Like it's good, right, for football. Like the
Yeah.
last 3, 4 years, Liverpool, Man City competed.
Yeah,
Now
the
Arsenal's,
obvious. Yeah.
yeah, now Arsenal's coming to the mix. It's like
Yeah, Newcastle.
Pep's students. Arteta doing the business, Xavi in Barcelona, Xavi Alonso doing it in Leverkusen. He seems to have influence everywhere. Which
I
is
think the
which is
globalization of Premier League football has meant that obviously the levels of money coming in from top to
yeah,
bottom, because it's TV money, you still have to give
yeah,
Southampton quite similar money to what you give someone who finishes fourth or fifth or
yeah,
third. If you look at the money that comes in, the good thing is it's staggered evenly-ish.
mm,
It's not like you finished bottom five and you're so different to the top five.
yeah.
But where the difference in the money is in Champions League. And this is why nights
Oh,
like tonight hurt a bit more, because you know this is going to stop, or potentially FSG use as an excuse to say, Klopp, I'm sorry, we can't afford him at 80 mil. But we're happy to sign off 60 mil. Come back to us in a week and let us know who you've
yeah,
got in the same position for 60 mil. And we're not going to sign off any 350 grand a week, because we're going to basically cap it at 250 grand.
yeah.
And that's to do with you not finishing fourth. And that's the problem, isn't it? That's the worry. If you finish fourth, you got money. But I just wonder if Liverpool as a football club need to go through an Arsenal, need to go through a Man United, and
Maybe
and
we,
come
we,
back.
we do a season where, it jolts the owners into doing something, spending money to take us back up there. But
Well, the thing is,
the
if you're in the Europa League, remember this, right? And
you
Arsenal
can still
fans need
get
to remember this as
you
well,
can
is
win
the
it and get
midweek
back
games
in.
are easy. Like for the first 6 months, for the
Yeah,
first the group stages, right? Even after the group stages, the last 16 tend to be easy in the Europa League. So you're not taxing them players in
yeah,
midweek like you've been taxed tonight. Like if you lose on the weekend, people are going to point to this game if you lose to Palace and say they were battered in the midweek, they got run around. So
mm,
when you're in the Europa League, although it's a step down from Champions League football, and Liverpool fans will be like, I don't want to watch this shit on a Thursday night, and all the jokes are coming out. But
yeah,
actually, you're able to go in the Premier League harder, and you're able to test a few youngsters out in the
in
Europa
the
League, and you're
yeah.
able to rebuild. So
It's true, but
not
you know what, like clubs like they want to be in the Champions League, man. They want to be playing the best
obsessed with
teams.
Champions League because of the
Yeah,
money, because
like
of the status.
the status, like because look,
Yeah.
the Premier League and the Champions League are, if you win one of those trophies, that's a proper trophy. Do you know what I mean?
It's the
That's why,
World Cup. It's the World Cup of club football.
yeah, that's
Right.
why Man City want to win the Champions League, and they've been throwing so much money at it and doing what they've been
Yeah.
doing the last
But you see,
last
the
10 years.
problem with them is they're almost buying it, right? Liverpool
But
can afford
literally,
to go sixth. They're such
yeah,
a big club that the
yeah,
club itself carries the team,
yeah,
or it carries itself so well because it's so sustainable, right?
yeah,
With the revenue that you've got now up to third. Now,
mm,
obviously, a lot of that was to do with the Champions League final, but Liverpool's big enough to go fifth, sixth for a couple of years, do an Arsenal, do a Man U. The club's big enough. Man City goes sixth or fifth in the Europa League. Are they big enough without the owners just throwing money? Is the till clicking enough? Is it ringing enough to survive?
they'll make it. They'll
They'll
make it ring
make
again.
it,
They'll
but
make it.
but but realistically speaking,
Yeah.
Liverpool Football Club can even get relegated. I'm just talking nonsense here, but they could get relegated and they're big enough to come back because they've got that bounce back ability off the back of a huge global fan
Well, it's
base
yeah,
and
it's the fan base.
everything.
Like United,
You've got
it
enough
goes.
money there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see it. We'll see.
Real money.
Yeah, we'll
Not
see in the
monopoly
summer
money.
what the spend is. But good to
Yeah, good
good
to
to have
catch
a
up,
long.
mate.
Yeah,
Nice
cool. So
long
we'll.
chat. 1 hour 40-ish minutes.
Well, we've now done a
Thanks.
proper show.
We've done a proper show, mate. Thanks, Sultan,
Cool.
for coming on. I'm
Yeah.
sorry
So
that we had to talk about Liverpool's weaknesses and holes and issues off the pitch, issues on the pitch. But I think it was good. It was
yeah.
surgery. It was a diagnosis. We know the prescription. We know exactly what's needed. So anyone who wants to know what's wrong with Liverpool Football Club, not just what Real Madrid did to you tonight, but what's wrong with the club on and off the pitch, watch this stream, because this is where we've dissected it off the pitch, owners, strategy, players, managers, tactics. We've literally gone through a 360 of your club, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So thanks for coming on, mate.
Cool. No worries, man.
Painful stuff, mate, but therapy at the same time as well. Once you get it out the body into, conversation
Yeah.
and talking about it openly, it's better. It's better because you're not there on your own in your own thoughts. It's always nice to speak
That's
about
it.
it.
We're all football fans. We all have opinions,
We've
whether
all
some
been there.
people agree or not. So no, it's been good, mate. It's been
It's good,
good.
mate. And long may it continue. Hopefully, we'll see you Sunday then, representing LFC, 9 o'clock.
That's it, mate.
I look
Yeah, yeah.
forward to getting you back on. Crystal Palace
Cool.
away. That's a tough game.
Yeah.
And everyone else watching, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, share it, go on Instagram. We've got a good following on Instagram now. I think 300 something subscribers in the last couple of weeks. Quite a new
Oh,
channel.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so things are growing online. Things are growing on YouTube as well. We bring the Big Six content every week. This Sunday, 9 o'clock, Sully will be with us. We'll have the residential pundits in the house, the likes of VJ, Gorav, Hash, myself representing Tottenham, and Ricky hopefully can make it as well. We'll see you on Sunday, 9 o'clock. For now, subscribe, like, and share. Love, peace, and unity, and see you on the next one.